by 390 feet. This disk is 100 feet in diameter. It appears to be a rendering of an extraterrestrial being holding a disk with three objects that appear to be shaped like UFOs. This is the head with a pointed chin, parted mouth, nose, and large eyes. This is its neck, the front of its torso, and this appears to be its hand holding out the disc. This has a much higher resolution quality than the facial crop formation of 1 year earlier. That is because horizontal lines of varying widths are used, which is the same way that pictures are displayed in television. The prior facial formation simply used dots of varying sizes in the same manner that pictures are presented in newspapers. This is a close-up picture of the disk. It is comprised of blocks formed by standing crops surrounded by flattened crops. It is a spiral pattern with a sequence of blocks and spaces that start at the center and spiral out to the edge of the disk. It was discovered that this sequence was divided into groups of 8 equal parts that were separated by triangular arrow-shaped symbols. When these patterns are analyzed, they were found to represent letters and symbols based upon a computer code known as ASCII, which actually spell out an intelligent message. Now, you may ask why the creators of this formation would use this obscure manner to deliver their message, rather than just displaying the letters themselves. Well, it would take a matrix of a minimum of 6 dots wide by 8 dots tall to represent each letter. If each dot were rendered in a crop field as being a block that was 10 foot square, it would require a field that was 7,960 feet square in order to display the 152 characters of this message. The pattern in this 100-foot diameter sized disk is simply the most efficient means to deliver the message. Let's take a close look at the exact way in which the message was rendered. It starts in the center. This is a close-up view of that center, and this is the same area with the standing crop patterns highlighted. The dots and spaces here represent the letters of the first word of the message. It all starts with this ever-widening curved line. There is a triangle shape where this line ends to indicate the start of the first group of blocks and spaces. Here is another one, which indicates where one group ends and another one begins. Between these two, you have a block here and one here. This is a graphical representation of the same center portion of the disk. If you compare the lengths of the spaces here, here, and here to the width of the blocks, you find that there is one space here, 4 spaces here, and 1 space here for a total of 8 parts. Each part can be represented as a 1 or 0 to indicate either a block or a space. In this way, you would then have 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Those digits are shown in this column here with the first digit on top. The next group can then be represented as a 0, 2 1s, 2 0s, then 1, 0, 1, which is listed in the second column, and so forth. You may recall that this is the upper portion of the Arecibo message that represented our decimal numbering system. It represented columns of dots that were only 3 dots high. However, this same method can be used with columns of even more dots. When applied to these groups of 8 parts, we find that the first 3 rows have the values of 1, 2, and 4, just as in the Arecibo message. Each additional row is then assigned a value that is twice the value of the previous row. This row has the value of 8, which is twice the value of 4 in this row. Likewise, this row has a value of 16, then 32, 64, and 128. In order to determine the total decimal value of each column of digits, you simply add the values of each row wherever there is a 1. In the first column, we have a 1 with a value of 64, and another 1 with a value of 2. When you add 64 and 2 together, you have the total value of 66, which represents the decimal value for the first group of blocks and spaces. In the second column, you have ones with values of 64, 32, 4, and 1. When you add them all together, you get the decimal number of 101, and this can be repeated for all of the groups in the message. This is known as the ASCII conversion table. It enables you to derive the associated character that is related to a specific decimal value. Each number from 32 to 126 has been defined to represent an associated text character. Symbol characters are listed here along with their associated decimal values. The capital letters are here and the lowercase letters are here. These are the same groups which are listed again with their columns of digits along with their related values and associated decimal numbers. Shown below each decimal number is the associated letter that is derived from the ASCII table. These letters spell out the first word of the message on the disk. For instance, the first group has a decimal value of 66. When you find this number of 66 in the table of sequential values, you find that it corresponds to the capital letter B, which is the first letter here. The second group has a decimal value of 101. When you find the number 101 in this table, you discover that it corresponds to the lowercase letter e, which is here. This can be done for all of the groups in the same manner. This is the complete translation of the message on the disk. It says, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises. Much pain, but still time. Believe. There is good out there. We oppose deception. Conduit closing." Notice how all of the letters in some of the words are capitalized in order to add emphasis. In some words, like this one and this one here, only the first 2 letters are capitalized. Let's examine what this message is actually trying to tell us. The first sentence states, "Beware the bearers of false gifts and their broken promises." This message is far too important to simply be telling us to be cautious of one another. Because this message appears to be of extraterrestrial origin, I believe that it is referring to the intentions of an alien race that could be offering us advanced technology and spiritual guidance. Although it does not specifically reveal whether false gifts have been offered in the past or will be offered in the future, it does say that those who offer the gifts have broken their promises in the past. Since this is not common knowledge, it implies that secret communications have taken place between our government